So as you guys know, I am Eli the computer guy, and today we are going to be talking about using Drobos for storage. See, so these are beautiful storage devices that allow you to basically keep adding storage to your computer infinitum in an easy way. This gives you the redundancy and the reliability of RAID without being a piece of crap like RAID is. Have I told you how much I hate RAID? I hate RAID with a passion. So this has what they call it, what Drobo calls it, is something called BeyondRAID. And so BeyondRAID is a good thing for many, many reasons. So when we talk about RAID normally, right, what are we talking about when we talk about RAID? When we're talking about RAID, what we're doing is we're turning multiple physical drives into one logical drive for a number of different reasons, either to speed up the performance of the drive or normally for reliability or redundancy. So the idea is if you turn five physical hard drives into one logical hard drive, then if you have something like RAID 5, disk striping with parity, if one drive fails, you don't have to worry about all the other ones. The issue is when you're dealing with RAID, you're dealing with RAID, right? You know, RAID is... oh my golly, RAID is just one of those things. Like, you build it and you create it, and then it just wants to stay how it is. If you need to enlarge the size of the RAID, that's usually a real pain in the butt. If you even need to shrink the size of the RAID, it's a pain in the butt. Essentially what happens is you turn all of those physical drives into one logical drive, and then that's it. Really, you don't mess with it, you don't play with it. Maybe if one drive fails, you pull that one drive out and you put the new drive in. But generally it can be absolutely horrible. And so what's nice with Drobo and their whole BeyondRAID technology is that there is zero configuration for you, the end user. If a drive fails, you pull it out, the old drive out, and you put the new drive in, and then it takes care of it. You don't have to put in any commands, you don't have to do anything, it deals with it. Beyond that, if you want to increase the size of your BeyondRAID array, all you have to do is you pull out the old hard drive. So let's say this has four 1 terabyte hard drives in it, and I want to make it larger. What I can do is I can pull out one of those the 1 terabyte hard drives. I can plug in a 4 terabyte hard drive, and now I have enlarged the entire array without having to do anything else. I didn't have to break the array. I didn't have to take the data from here and put it somewhere else and do something all kinds of messy, right? All I had to do is pull one drive out, plug in the new drive, and away you go. So that is what makes BeyondRAID and Drobo's really nice thing. So let's go over to my little demo thing, just so I can kind of show you what's going on with this Drobo here. So again, so this is the Drobo. There's many different versions of Drobo, and they're all built with this BeyondRAID technology. So again, that BeyondRAID technology is essentially RAID for 2014. You can pull drives out, put drives in, and you really don't have to worry about it, right? So you get many different kind of form factors. This is one particular type of Drobo. That's the USB 3.0 Drobo. They have Thunderbolt Drobos, they have iSCSI, Sand Drobos, the whole 9 yards. But this is, what is this called? The 5S or something like that. Basically, all you do is you pull off the top of this and you can see your nice little drives in here. And so basically all you do is you slot the drives in and away you go. One of the things that I like with how Drobo does this is you'll notice that there's no cases or there's no mounts for these hard drives. Basically all you do is you plug them in and you pull them out. You don't have to screw them into any kind of anything else. Beyond that, you then have, you know, this little cover that goes on top. And one of the cool things is this shows you what's going on here, right? So if you're looking at these colored lights and you're trying to figure out what's going on, it tells you. If the light is green, you don't have to do anything, the system is healthy. If the light is yellow, that means that the hard drives are filling up, so you need to replace that one with a larger drive soon. Don't remove this drive. Maybe it's going through its little replication process. If it's red, add a drive or drive failure, replace. So basically, all the information you need is right there. And again, the good thing with the Drobo is you don't have to go into and deal with any of those really nasty configuration panels you have to do with a lot of RAID. Now, they do have a kind of like a dashboard that you can deal with if you want to when you're dealing with this guy. If we go over, we can take a look at my Mac. So I have this plugged into my Mac, and this is the Drobo Dashboard. So we can go in here and we can kind of look at what's going on. So we can see I've got my Drobo here. Currently it has a 3.58 terabyte capacity, 210 gigs used, so on and so forth. I can highlight the Drobo, and then I can go here and I can do things. I can look at the status. So I can look at the status of all of these different drives in there. Just to make sure I know what's going on. I can look at the capacity. So 210 gigs are used out of 3.58 terabytes total. I can look at the different volumes in here. So one of the nice things that Drobo allows you to do is they allow you to section off to create a volume for the time machine if you're dealing with Apple products. So I was able to do that here, and it's using this 930 gig section for the time machine, and then the Drobo part is for everything else. Then we have tools. If we want to turn on lights, we want to reset the Drobo. If we want to check for updates, we have Drobo settings, so some information here. One of the nice parts with the Drobos is, so with the Drobo, you don't have to put, like especially with this one, you don't have to put 4 drives in. Theoretically, you can put a single drive in and it will work, but I would say put 4 in. But as if you put 4 in there, what you can also have in here is dual disk redundancy. So if you check on the dual disk redundancy, what that will allow is up to 2 drives failing simultaneously, and you won't lose anything, which is pretty nice. So basically, that's all the kind of information they have here. They have a little power setting and all that. We can hit OK. We go over to dashboard settings. That will tell you some of the other stuff. So basically, this is all there really is to the Drobo for the normal operation, and it's really, it just makes it really nice. It makes it really easy. So if you want to attach this to a server, for a file server, if you've got a lot of files like I do for video files, what's nice is now they only make 4 terabyte drives, but in a few months they're going to make 8 terabyte drives. You're going to be able to buy 8 terabyte drives. So as these different drives come out, you pull the old drive out, you plug the new drive in, you can very quickly and easily change the size of your array, and life is very nice. One of the other things they do to make life easier for you with these Drobos is they do something called thin provisioning, right? So normally when you create a volume on a hard drive, it's a set size, 1 terabyte, 5 terabytes, 200 megabytes, I don't care what it is, but it's a set size. And if you want to change, or I'm sorry, the partition size, and if you want to change that partition size, you have to go in and you have to, again, you have to mess with it manually in order to make it bigger or shrink. Well, the cool thing with Drobo is they do something called thin provisioning. So as far as the computer is concerned, you actually have a lot more storage than you in fact have. So I don't know if I can show you this if I can zoom in. No, I can't zoom in. But as far as the computer is concerned, there's 17.59 terabytes on this Drobo. So if we just looked at it, there was like 3.5 usable terabytes. Well, the computer thinks that there's 17.59. So again, I can keep adding storage to this Drobo, enlarging the size of it, and I'm not going to have to go in and do any kind of manual stuff to play with it. Let's see here. If we go up to applications, if we start wondering about things like performance, because that's one of the questions that comes up with performance, is like how does it deal with the hard drive and such. And okay, there we go. We got the Blackmagic speed test. And again, it does pretty well. So if we go up here to configurations, I select my target drive. We're going to select the Drobo. We're going to choose that, and we're going to start doing the speed tests. What we're going to see is we get a decent speed here. Now, this isn't as fast as what you would consider a classic RAID, like a RAID 5 disk striping with parity would probably be faster than this. But realistically, 187 megabits per second write, 180 megabytes per second read, or 227 megabytes per second read is a pretty good speed. So again, it's not blazing fast, but when you think about how easy it is to upgrade, so on and so forth, it seems like a pretty good deal to me. If you're interested in taking a look at these, basically all you have to do is you just go to drobo.com. And again, as I say, they have a lot of different products. What makes this so good is that BeyondRAID technology that's built into all of them. So if you want USB 3.0, they've got one. If you want Thunderbolt, they've got one. If you want iSCSI, they've got one. If you want to spend $400, they've got something. And if you want to spend $2,000, they have something. The one thing that I will say, so when we go to products, so what they gave me here, I'm sorry, they gave me just the normal Drobo here. And so if you go here, it's basically the normal standard Drobo. One thing that I will say is if you have a few more dollars and you're actually interested in the Drobo, if you go to the 5D or the 5N, one of the things they also have in here is the ability to put in a mini SATA SD drive. And what that acts is as a cache, right? So if you want better speed out of your Drobo, that acts as a cache. So when you start using a file, it moves into that mini SSD drive, so it's very, very, very fast. And when you stop using it, it goes back into the normal Drobo array. So that is one thing. If you have a couple extra bucks in your pocket and you're looking at buying one of these Drobos, that might be a good deal. So if you go here, and again, like I say, you can take a look at the Drobo, and it's got all this different information. One of the other things that I like with these Drobo systems, again, you aren't necessarily going to find these in any other system, is the ability to upgrade the Drobo. So what you can do, and this is very nice, especially once you start dealing with large data storage, is you can actually pull the drives out of this Drobo and then put it into a bigger Drobo. So let's say you buy this Drobo today and you're messing with it and you're like, well, it's great, but it doesn't have enough performance, or it's great, but I want it to be iSCSI or whatever. One of the things is, let's say you're already storing 10 terabytes of data on here and you're thinking about, okay, how do I move that 10 terabytes over to something else? One of the nice things with this whole Drobo configuration is you can actually pull all of these drives out of this particular Drobo. Then what you do is you take them over to the Drobo, the new Drobo that you want to use. You plug the drives in there. It figures out everything. You wait for it to do all its little replication process, and then away you go. It is that easy. Again, if you've dealt with normal RAID systems or a lot of the other storage systems, they can be absolutely an utter nightmare. So this is a good thing. I really see nothing bad about it. Again, as I say, I've dealt with a lot of storage systems. I've dealt with a lot of RAID, and that's one of the things a lot of people don't realize is RAID is simply not flexible, right? You create that 10 terabyte RAID array, and then what do you do next? If you wanted to make it a 14 terabyte array, normally what happens, you have to break the RAID and then rebuild it. But then the question is what do you do with that 10 terabytes, right? So you put all your data onto this 10 terabyte array, and then in order to increase the size of the array, you got to break the array. But if you break the array, you lose all the data that's on the array. So you got to move that to something else, and nightmare ensues. So what's nice with this is, like I say, you can just pull the hard drives in and out. Again, if we go back over to my little demo table just to show you again how easy it is, I mean, that's all you do. Like I say, you pull that, you pull the drive out, and it automatically starts doing the process. If I had a bigger drive, if I had a different drive, all I do is I just slot it in, and it's that easy, and it rebuilds itself. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if you've ever dealt with real storage. I mean, it's just a nice thing. I mean, because I know I'm going to get a lot of hate for showing you guys the Drobo. So I will say, if you're in a company that has the money for multiple, data storage, RAID devices, that will probably give you better performance. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you can drop, I don't know, $15,000 on your data storage infrastructure, which actually isn't a lot in the tech world, but let's say $15,000, then yeah, Drobo is probably a joke to you. But if you don't have $15,000 in your back pocket, I think this is about the best thing around. And what I would argue, because a lot of people say, is like, well, what if the system fails? I would argue, with as inexpensive as cloud storage is nowadays, what I'm going to be doing with mine is set this up, then connect it to my cloud storage, which is really inexpensive. So I have a really large data storage here. I have it backed up to the cloud. If anything catastrophic does happen, I can pull it back down if I need to. And I think that is the best option. So yeah, so that is the Drobo. Again, I like it. I mean, BeyondRAID is it's so simple. Again, I've been playing with this for like the last few days, and it really is. You pop a drive out, and then you walk away, and about an hour later, it's all rebuilt. You shove a drive in, you walk away, about an hour later, it's all rebuilt. When you go, while it's going through the rebuild process, you can still use the drive pretty much like normal. It's just a really good thing. Really good thing. So if you're looking for any kind of storage device for your small company or for yourself, I would say definitely take a look at these Drobos. They're a beautiful little thing. This is the normal Drobo. Again, personally, I will be going to buy the Drobo 5D because that gives me the Thunderbolt connection and it gives me that extra caching ability, which I think would be very useful. But yeah, I think that's a good thing. Again, FCC compliance, just so you guys know. Drobo did send me this thing to play with, but I actually have to ship it back to them. They are not as nice as QNAP. You know what? QNAP gave me a QNAP. I just want to make that point, Drobo. But anyways, they gave me $1,000 QNAP, Drobo. But you want your Drobo back. So yeah, shipping back the Drobo, but honestly, it is good enough. I'm going to go out and buy one on my own because, you know, having this kind of flexibility for data storage, I don't see any downside to. So those are my thoughts on Drobo for storage. If you haven't played with them, definitely go out there and play with them. They're pretty good things. Altaro.com, ALTARO.com, if you're dealing with virtualization in a Hyper-V environment. So we're talking about Windows Server 2008 R2, 2012, and 2012 R2. Take a look at Altaro.com. They have a number of Hyper-V backup solutions. They have the free version, which will back up to 2 VMs for free forever. They also have the unlimited version, starting at only $400 per host. I think this is a very good value. So if you are dealing with Hyper-V virtualization and you need a backup solution, take a look at Altaro.com. Plixer.com. Plixer deals with NetFlow analytics software. So NetFlow is a component of Cisco equipment that shows you what's going on at the network layer, what devices are talking to what other devices, what kind of network jitter, all of that kind of stuff. So Plixer has a free piece of software called Scrutinizer. Scrutinizer is a free NetFlow network traffic analysis tool. So if you want to play around with NetFlow, if you want to see what's going on with the network layer and you have Cisco equipment, take a look at Plixer.com. Click on the link below this video. It'll bring you to this page where you can download Scrutinizer, the free NetFlow network traffic analysis tool. SchooleyMitchell.com. If you're trying to find better internet or telephone service, or if you're trying to find less expensive internet or telephone service, give Schooley Mitchell a call. Basically what these guys are telecom consultants. You call them, you say what you need for yourself or your client, and they figure out the best option. They'll examine your existing services and review your bills to make sure there are no errors. Then they'll keep an eye on your services moving forward so that everything remains optimized. Because Schooley Mitchell is objective and independent, they have no ties to vendors. You know they are always your best interests in mind. The best part is there is no fee for their services. The only cost is a portion of the shared savings over a set period of time. If they don't find savings, there is no cost to you. Schooley Mitchell. AdAccess.com. If you're dealing with Active Directory on a large scale, so you have hundreds of users to add, hundreds of users to disable, so on and so forth, you may want to take a look at AdAccess.com. This is Active Directory management and automation software. So this tries to automate and simplify the Active Directory workflow. So if you are in a large-scale Active Directory infrastructure, take a look at AdAccess.com. NerdsWeCanFixThat.com. If you're thinking about starting your own computer services company, but you don't want to have to worry about coming up with a logo and copyright and trademark and all of those kinds of things, you may think about buying into a computer services franchise system. NerdsWeCanFixThat is a computer services franchise system. They have 62 franchises throughout the United States. They can franchise in every state other than Hawaii. They also franchise internationally. If you're thinking about starting your own computer services company, you should contact them, fill out the information below, or give them a call. Again, as I will say, franchise systems are great for a lot of people, not so good for others. Always make sure to do your due diligence, but if you're thinking about starting a computer services company anyway, you might as well contact NerdsWeCanFixThat to see what they have to say. Spiceworks.com. These guys have the free network management software, the free mobile device management software, the free community with millions of users. So if you're an IT professional and you need support, Spiceworks is a great place to go. All of their stuff is basically free and just an absolutely great thing. Again, if you have any questions that I don't answer in the show that are technical in nature, we're talking about Active Directory synchronization between sites in remote areas. If you click on the link below this video, video that will take you to the Spiceworks community. They have millions of users there that will be able to help you out. So take a look at spiceworks.com. Veeam.com, V-E-E-A-M.com. If you just virtualized 100 servers and now you're trying to figure out how to back them up, they have solutions for ESXi, they have solutions for HyperV, and as you guys like, they have free stuff. So if you are dealing with a virtualized environment and you're trying to figure out a backup solution, take a look at Veeam.com. Total Seminars, TotalSim.com. If you're looking for your A+, your Net+, your Security Plus certification, they have video training, practice test, exam vouchers, and more. If you are on the CompTIA track and you are looking for study prep material, study guides, that type of thing, take a look at Total Seminars, TotalSim.com, TotalSem.com. So this is the hands-on review of the iTech 15-inch MacBook Pro cover that they sent me. So as you guys know, iTech has been sending me quite a few products lately, and I have been impressed with I think all of them. iTech is one of those companies I never heard of before they contacted me, and I'm finding that I think I like almost all of their products. They're just very, very good accessories for your computers and your mobile devices. So they sent me this this iTech, this MacBook Pro case, and basically that's what it is. I mean, it's a MacBook Pro case, but the thing with it is that it just looks nice. You know, a lot of the computer accessories out there look like they've been created, you know, for 17-year-olds, and either 17-year-olds or people that don't care about style at all. And what's nice about this is this actually looks pretty stylish and pretty nice, and it's made well. So let's go over to my little demo table so I can kind of show you what's going on here. So this is their MacBook Pro case, and it's a felt case, so it looks like wool, but it's felt, but it's nice and thick. It feels very sturdy. You know, if you pull on it, it's made very well. It has the little faux leather here. I don't know if it is leather. Faux leather here, but it looks all good. You know, it's got nice and gray, and it's got this little brown. It's stitched well and all that. If you open it up, I mean, it's just a nice little case, and then it's got its little pockets on the side. Beyond that, with iTech, they give you, when you buy it, it has a nice little adapter pouch, which this is nice. So a lot of these companies, when they sell you the case, you don't know what the hell to do with the adapter, so they give you this nice, pretty pouch. So if you're gonna be taking your MacBook Pro, and you have, let's say, a briefcase or a satchel or whatever, like with me, when I travel, I throw my MacBook Pro directly into my little travel bag that I have. You can put it in here. It's nice and protected. It looks good, so on and so forth. Now, if you're interested in this, and like I say, this is a very good thing. If we go over to the computer, I can kind of show you that basically all you have to do is go to initech.com, and then what you're going to be looking for is the MacBook Pro 15-inch case, and you can come here and you can take a look at it. The thing that I really like about it, that's impressive, is that if you go over to buy it, you can see that it's only $17, $16.99. So theoretically, I guess it's supposed to be $40, and it's quote-unquote on sale for $17. So really, for that price, I mean, that's a really good deal. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, whenever you're dealing with most of these accessories, what you run into in the real world is either they look nice and are made well and cost you $100 a pop, or they cost $17 a pop and they're pieces of crap. I mean, really, that's what it is. There's very little in the middle, and this is nice. I mean, this is nice. Like I say, it looks good, it feels good, and it's rather inexpensive. And the thing too, what I like about this is that it just has a style that like a CEO or a professional would feel comfortable with. Again, as I talk about, you know, with me, I mean, I go to Nordstrom when I buy my clothes. You know, I've been known to go to Bergdorf Goodman up in New York and buy Ralph Lauren pieces that cost a decent amount of money, and I feel comfortable, you know, having this. You know, if I went off to a business meeting or whatever, and this was in my briefcase or I was holding it, I mean, it just looks good. I mean, it goes together with a suit and all that kind of stuff. So there we go. So again, iTech has really been growing on FCC compliance. They've sent me some products, but they don't pay me otherwise. But I've really been impressed with iTech. I have to say with you guys, again, like if you have a consulting company or you know you resell to clients, I would definitely take a look at iTech products because they have all of these just general accessories that you need or that you should stock, and they're all at a good price, and they're cheap enough that you can put a nice little markup on them if you sell them yourself. They're good. so on and so forth. So there you go. Anyways, the iTech MacBook Pro felt case, very good product. Definitely give it a thumbs up. Definitely at 17 bucks. This question comes from Chris S. I was wondering if you could share some tips on how to deal with a know-it-all personality. My friend and I will have conversations and they get off topic a lot. He will say things that I know are not true and I have tried to say otherwise, but he doesn't listen. I really don't care about him doing this, but I was thinking it could be a good thing to address on how to handle a coworker like this or a boss. An example of something he will say is, all you need to do is hook up 20 PlayStation 4s together and that is enough computing power. You'll be able to hack any computer in the world. So the question is basically, how in the real world of technology and business and all that, how do you deal with know-it-all personalities? You don't. You know what I'm saying? You don't, right? Especially in the Western mindset, we have this idea that right, if we are right, we will prevail. We have this idea that we can overcome and all this kind of stuff. So if you're dealing with a know-it-all personality, you can bring them to task. You can show them the light and change them. And the reality is that's a bunch of horse crap. The thing is, when you deal with like know-it-all personalities, the reality is something is going on in their mind, and they simply can't accept reality as it is. And the issue is there's nothing that you can do to show them the light. There's nothing that you can do to bring them around. It really is so. They're using some kind of protection mechanism that's built into the human brain, and therefore they will always be right. They simply cannot accept being wrong. So no matter how right you are, they will never accept it. You could, what I'm saying, no matter what you do, they will simply never accept it. So what I have found in the real world with these kind of people is only deal with them as much as you can tolerate, only deal with them as much as you need to, and then move the hell on. Again, one of the biggest problems that I see with most people in the technology world, just in general, is again this whole idea that we can help everybody. If only I do something, I can show the person the error of their ways. They don't want to see the error of their ways. They want to be right. That's all they care about. So what I would say in the real professional world is you just don't deal with them. I mean, that really is an answer sometimes. You know what I'm saying? So there you go. If you deal with a know-it-all personality, deal with them as little as possible. Move on. Don't waste time. Don't waste energy, because that's all it's going to be. You are not going to fix them. You cannot fix anybody else in the entire world but yourself. You're the only one that you can fix. So this question comes from Ho-Ho Jojo M. Ho-Ho, we'll call him Ho-Ho. Anyways, after watching several YouTube videos of yourself, I would like to know what someone would have to do to make a hacking tutorials on YouTube, as I want to start a YouTube channel while getting AdSense without violating YouTube's terms and conditions. So one of the things you guys may not realize, again, one of the reasons I don't do hacking videos, is because it actually violates YouTube's terms and conditions for earning AdSense revenue. True. So if you look at it, basically if you do videos on hacking, you're not supposed to actually make any money off of it. Thankfully, my crappy, old, horrible introduction to hacking video from years ago is still bringing me thousands of dollars a year in profit, but technically, I'm not supposed to be making any money off of it, I don't think. I do have a video called Introduction to Practical Hacking, where I talked a little bit more about the practical side of hacking, and that actually is banned from any AdSense revenue. So it is on YouTube, but I don't make any revenue for it. So that's the issue. What you have to realize in the YouTube world is YouTube is about covering their ass, right? It's about covering Google's ass so they don't get sued, so they don't get into all those legal repercussions, so on and so forth. I mean, they are streaming out billions of videos every single day, and so they just don't want to go through any of these, anywhere near any of this gray area stuff. So You know, if you want to create videos about hacking, basically the only way that I could see that you could do it and still earn AdSense revenue is the idea of if you don't really present it as hacking. Not, you know what I'm saying? Like, don't say, oh, you know, how do you put it? Art poisoning, you know. If you maybe present it as security, right? Because hacking is bad, security is good, right? So if you created tutorials on security topics, on how to block hacking attacks, but then you simply expounded upon how the hacking attack works. So since we know that these are the exact steps in order to try to hack a system, then this is how you would protect your system from that hacking attack. You know, kind of get about that roundabout way. So that is how I would look at it. Remember, you know, whenever you're dealing with anything in technology, there's two sides to it. You know, for the hacking side, there's security. So if you're a hacker, you have to be concerned about security procedures because you're trying to get around those security procedures, right? If you're worried about, if you're the security guy, you have to worry about hackers because they're trying to get into your systems. So so by talking about one side, you are de facto talking about the other. So that is what I would say, is if I was going to make a channel, I would focus it on security. And the other thing too is if you focus it on security, you're going to make a lot more money, right? You know, Cisco and Intel and Juniper and all the people that actually specifically asked to advertise on my channel do it because I'm talking about building stuff, right? They don't want to be associated with hackers and all that kind of stuff. They want to be associated with security. So that would be the thing. If you want to start a YouTube channel, I would say come at it from the security standpoint. That won't violate YouTube's terms of service. B, I think you'll actually make more money doing it as long as you actually create good content. And three, or C, or wherever we're at this, it will also look better for your resume. Again, if I am going to be an employer, if I'm going to be hiring you at some point, that's one of the things you have to think about when you put things on your resume. I do a YouTube channel. If I go to your YouTube channel and all I see is hacking videos, how comfortable do you think that makes me feel? Seriously, honestly. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you say, I did 100 videos on YouTube, and I go and I look at it, and there are all these hacking things, man, I am telling you, as a boss, that doesn't make me feel good. It really does. It makes me really damn nervous. On the other hand, I go there and I see 100 videos on security. It's like, wow, this guy's awesome. So I think you will be much better off and end up, you can basically do the same crap if you focus on security versus hacking. So the final thoughts for today are just some thoughts on how you pivot your little startup technology company. Whether you have a startup company or a technology company, one thing that comes up a lot is the concept of pivoting. What pivoting means is that you shift how you are doing things to try to find a better business model. So that is one of the things that is currently going on a little bit with geekbraindump.com, because if you look at geekbraindump.com, realistically, you know, I talk about geekbraindump.com not being around very long, really about 3 months, so it's really in full swing. But honestly, if you really want to look at it, I have been working on the concept of geekbraindump.com probably for about 1.5 years now, going on almost 2 years. The first inception for this started a long time ago. And so back then, what I did is I started hiring writers to help write blog posts for Eli, the computer guy. And then what I found out, and this is the important thing that you guys have to understand about technology businesses, right? Again, you guys all think, you know, like a technology business is born and it starts walking and is perfect the day that it's born. In reality, it's this kind of convoluted mess that finally, hopefully at the end of the day, starts paying some bills. And so way back, you know, 1.5 years ago, almost 2 years ago, what I decided is in order to start expanding my little business, that I was going to go out and hire writers, right? So I hired Craig Chamberlain, I hired Nullset, David Recules, hired, you know, a couple of other people to start writing content for me to add to Eli the elithecomputerguy.com. So the idea is I would do the videos and some blog posts, and I would get other people to add blog posts in, and it would be wonderful. And then a weird thing happened. And then a weird thing happened is I started publishing the blog posts, but the blog posts were not written in the way that I speak. So I have a certain voice, as it's called, how I present things. And I started getting a backlash from my fan base or viewers or whatever the hell you want to call yourselves, because the post did not present that voice. It was all these other people's voices, and people found it to be disturbing, right? So that was the first iteration of trying to create a little business off of this written publishing. So I put it on the back burner a little bit till I had the idea for like geekbraindump.com, so a place where, what if I started having writers write, again, for me as a business, but then it was not Eli the Computer Guy, it was some other name, it was some other thing. And so with that, I started thinking about, hiring writers and user submitted content and going from there. So I started geekbraindump.com a while ago with the idea originally that I would have both user submitted content and paid writers, but then we got inundated. We got absolutely inundated with user submitted content. We were getting up to 20 posts per day at one point. So I kind of scrapped the idea of paying writers because, hey, if you're getting 20 posts a day of user generated content, then you don't really have to worry about creating more content. You know what I'm saying? And then something happened. I don't know what's going on, but in the last couple of weeks, basically writing for geekbraindump.com for the user submitted content has kind of gone off the cliff. We've gone from 10 to 20 posts a day down to 2 or 3 or 4 or 1 on some days, 1 on some days. And so I'm going back to the idea of paying writers to create content because, again, I like the idea of creating a place to write about all these topics that are important about geeks, the things that we actually care about. And so basically, if at the end of the day that I have to pay for it, then so be it. And so I kind of want to just, wrap up these final thoughts with you today about this is how real technology businesses operate. It's not like this. It's not this idea where you go, I am going to sell this, and then 5 years from now you're a billionaire. The reality is you go into it and you go, okay, I'm going to do it this, and then I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to see if people want this, and then maybe this, and this, and this. It's one of those where instead of having like a business plan, people think you have to have a business plan, a 40-page business plan with demographics and all that stuff. And that's actually what I was trained in way back when in small business. I was trained in small business and how to do demographics and surveys and all that kind of stuff. And that's how people think a lot of technology business is supposed to work. In reality, instead of having that, what you do is you kind of have like this vague idea of what you want. So like when I started Eli the Computer Guy, or Everyman IT as it was called, almost 5 years ago, right? The idea, what I came to it as, is I am a geek. The biggest problem that I have as a geek is I never know where to start with a project. Let's say I decide I want to start installing voice over IP systems. The problem is not learning voice over IP systems, whether it's a VIA or OnSIP or Switchvox or any of that. The problem is, where do I start? Where do I begin the process of learning about this new technology? And so that's what I was thinking about when I started Everyman IT. And so that has blossomed into what we have now. And so that's the whole idea, like I say, with Geek Brain Dump, is the idea is where can we have a place where we have writing, blog posts of sorts, that talk about the current topical issues going on in the world of technology so that geeks can learn about what's going on. Whether that is user-created content or whether that ends up becoming, from paid authors. It's kind of like, it's more like you come at it from just this general idea of what you're trying to accomplish and then figure out what the hell pays the bills at the end of the day. So there you go. Those are the final thoughts for the day. I hope it's useful for you. So geekbraindump.com keeps trucking along, and our latest improvement is we are now starting to pay for some content. That is right, so that we can try to get some better search engine optimization so that we can start getting some better writing in here, more topical stuff, I have in fact started to pay writers. Now don't ask, if I don't come to you, then don't come to me type of thing. But just so you guys know, again, as I've said, I really do want geekbraindump.com to grow and be successful. So we have gotten to the point where you will start noticing that hopefully there will be some better posts in here about more topical, interesting things, and a lot of that will actually be from authors that I have paid for.